I've spent $30,838 worth of Frost Stars and Whiteout Survival in 155 days. I've got a lot to talk about tonight, mainly around the presidency and transfers. This is something I wanted to be able to show on my account, so I arranged it so that I could be transfer manager just so I can get into that interface. It's an interface that a lot of people, if you haven't been a transfer manager before, you probably haven't seen. And I also want to clarify some things on presidency. There isn't an awful lot to do on spending on the account tonight or with events, so I'm going to kind of skip most of that content, but let's take a quick look just briefly. So the first thing we've got going on is King of Icefield, and we've got this last day where it's like pet advancements, and basically speed ups is all I can do here. We got gathering as well, but the only things I can really do here is the speed ups and pet advancement. So let's just go take care of that quickly, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the speed ups for Dawn Academy, just for my basic points. So get this one done. Well, I mean, get some points in for it. We'll get that going. All right, I think that's enough. So now I'll get this one going. And yeah, I guess I'll just do it at the 5-day mark just to get it in the oven, so to speak, and cooking. All right, so we'll leave this like that for now and just go check on making sure I got my basic points for King Icefield. There we go. Got my basic points. That's all I really care about. Not trying to rank in this. This is where things are looking like on the leaderboard and overall ranking. Like, you know, I got a little bit on the board, but you know, not crazy, not a crazy amount. So that's all we got going on there. Let's take a look at Wild Brawl. I did manage to get some time. This is because of the time slots in my recording schedule and the weekend, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I have a cold. I had to do it when I had some spare time. So if we just take a look, I actually did quite well. I stayed in same gen because I didn't see the point of going to other gens when I'm most likely just going to get spanked. So I just got my basic rewards and points in this way. It's a fun event. It's kind of like a foundry. I was in all of the events I was in. I was able to basically take all of the fortress buildings and just pretty much sit in there and just keep on re-garrisoning them and keep them full. People knocked me out of some of them a little bit here and there, but I was easily able to take them back and stuff. So it's a fun event. It's a fun, fast-paced. It's kind of like a fun, fast-paced solo foundry is the way I would describe it. And then it's got those extra little things like the bombs and stuff. Pretty cool stuff. And then we got state transfer that I'm going to get into in some detail, but let me talk about presidency first, and let me just get through some of the rest of the stuff first. If we take a look at the calendar, we do have fishing coming up. Of course, we got the state transfer I just talked about. We have Canyon Clash coming up as well. That'll be fun. And Foundry again. So, that's what's coming up on the horizon, but certainly the big news is going to be transfers. So let's take a look. Let's dive into presidency. So first of all, if we take a look at the castle interface. So when you're president, you'll get this little special pop-up down here that you can see. Let me just highlight that right here. You'll get this little special icon that you can use to go right into the castle. Now, if you look through this interface, you're able to do a declaration. Almost everything that I've seen has a cooldown of one sort or another. You can't just keep on doing it. So this is what I sent for the presidential message, just asking everyone to please be mindful of SVS prep and don't push your furnace. And I hope we're able to work as a unified team going forward, because we have had some troubled times even just recently again. I hope it's all going in the right direction, but you never know. It still seems like we're a little more volatile than I'd like to be at this point. It just seems like the leaders just can't always agree. And I know there's different things of opinions and people get passionate. So I'm trying to, give as much grace as I can muster. Just some things just don't even make sense to me. So hopefully this starts getting better over time. So then we have these little buttons on the bottom. The grant is when you first get president, you can, give a bunch of rewards to people. And I tried to make it like a little fair. I tried to do some other alliances, give some other alliances some awards. I don't know. I've heard it go both ways. Like what I told people to do before is just, when it's your turn for castle, give all the rewards to your alliance, because that's the benefit of holding castle. But then again, other people from other alliances help. So that's what I did this time is I some key people in the other states that helped, with the battle. Even though this was just an internal one, I gave them some rewards just as kind of recognition, and then the rest of them I gave to our alliance pretty much. And next we have the president's skills here. And if you go into this one, these are the things you can do. And, there's no harm in grabbing these gems every day because you're going to have the authority pretty much. I did the medical advancement right away, but all these, they don't really tell you the cooldown right away. Like, nowhere does it tell you the cooldown, but all of these have cooldowns. So at this point, because we're saving for prep, most presidents will not activate any of these because they don't want to encourage people to do spending outside of prep. If I start enabling these things, people will start doing things to take advantage of them, and it'll waste our prep spending. So, and then we have the ceasefire. This is something you can use to prevent a chief from attacking for 1 hour. That's kind of a cool thing to use if you have somebody who's like being a problem. The forced exile is the famous teleport. Some people use this to, when you're supreme president, to take the other state's whales during bear trap and randomly teleport them. You can use this for types of punishment as well. Like if somebody wasn't listening to you, you can use this over and over again to force them to teleport and burn up those teleports, getting back home. The most common use of this, though, is just to teleport somebody who's either left the game, or you don't really want to burn the city. Maybe they're out on medical leave or something like that. You don't really want to burn the city, so you just want to ask the president to teleport them away. It does have a cooldown, though, and this one's a 4-hour cooldown, so you can't use it for 4 hours. And then the state search. You can search for anybody in the state, and it's limited to chiefs in your state, though, so that gets a little bit. You can't, like, even if you're supreme president, you can't search for people in the other state. So that's what things are looking like, and it's a skill record, just shows what you've done. It's a log of what you've done. So that's the president's skills. And then the appointment. So the appointment screen is the one that you probably are familiar with, and you can punish people, which we punished some people that pressed FC. This guy went to FC4. I talked to him again. I think it was he just didn't understand. I educated him. He seemed okay. He understood the punishment and accepted it. Not a big deal ultimately. These punishments are kind of like a slap on the wrist, but this one is a real punishment because now it'll slow down all those things. And I feel completely justified in doing that because he went to FC4 and he shouldn't have. So then we look at the ministry position. So what it's common to do is you don't give the Minister of Interior to anybody because the Minister of Interior has the power to, approve things and shuffle things around. And basically they can cause some drama and problems. They can bump somebody, remove them, put them in prison. And if you're not careful with this position, and if it's not somebody who's going to be online a lot, you can find yourself in a position of, having a lot more drama created than you really intended. So this is the one that most of us don't allow auto approval on. You just appoint somebody and they get this research production speed boost, and you don't enable the automatically approve. For the other ones, you'll see what happens here, and all of them have this little info bubble kind of explaining the way the slots work and everything. But and again, most people are probably familiar with this, but on the president side of it, you can choose to automatically approve, and when you're supreme president, you can choose the furnace level, but when I can't show it now apparently. But when you're supreme president, there's another option. Let me see. All right, so I disabled it. Let me put it back on 20. Enable. Yeah, you can't see it now, but when you're supreme president, there'll be another option to say auto approve for everybody in the state, or for the other state as well. So it's a matter of, do you only allow it for internal, or do you also allow it to the other state? If you're going to be a good kind of sportsman, what's the cordial thing to do is to offer it to both states, especially with the time slot based system. And by the way, I need to show you that. So I got this image prepped. When you first become president, you have this position, this selection once and only once. If you get it wrong, you're screwed, and you can't change it later. So you'll get this selection once and only once. Most people, after time slot came out, most people hate the queue system. The previous president used a queue system. He got a lot of hate mail for it. The queue system, the problem is you're just in a queue, and if you're trying to time it for that, you have it with your bear trap, or if you're trying to time it for an event you're playing, or you're going to set an alarm because you're going to, take some time off of work or try to do something over your lunch, like press some troops over lunch or something like that. And then somebody bumps a position in front of you, then all of a sudden your time slot changes. So and not to mention that it's hard to schedule anything, because if you got to kind of wait to get in the point in the queue where you're going to be able to request a slot that's going to line up with what you want. So the time slot is just a time-based reservation. And if you know about this and you've seen it in your state, I mean, it's what everybody prefers. It's just what I showed you, because then you can actually sign up by time slot, and that's much more convenient. So that's the time slot. And if you don't get that right in the start, you can't change it again. You get the option only once. So that's that. And then you can also have an application block list. So anybody who is like, repeat offenders, people who are causing trouble and stuff like that. Not only can you give them punishment, which is kind of like, it could be a more temporary thing, but you can also put them in the block list so they can't use the ministry positions at all. So that's the way the appointment stuff works. Now, if we put our focus on the top of the screen, you can change a state name. I haven't thought of this. Is just kind of a fun thing. You change the flag. But this one here, you can change your perks. And the way this reads almost sounds like you're going to change your position and you're not going to be president anymore. That's not how it works. You can pick anything you want here, and you can basically assume those perks, and then they're yours. And there's like, I think a 5-minute, it says it on the top here, 5-minute cooldown after the switch. So like for Bear Trap, you might want to do the deployment capacity one. If you're in an event, you might want to do, like when I did Wild Brawl, I did it with this. If you're just, if you're just kind of hanging out doing nothing, you might want to just put it on the resource speed, so at least you get a bump on the resource speed, And you don't have to apply for that, so you just get that. Because you're president, you can pick whatever perks you want as the president position. That's how that works. The president pack is what you get when you first become president. It's kind of like the reward pack you get for becoming president. And then the exclusive skins. You get the city skin and the March skin. And those are just cool little cosmetic perks that kind of, that you get for being president. So that's the quick run through of the presidential screens. Hopefully that helps if you've never been president before, give you a little rundown and breakdown of what, everything is in that interface. But just take your time and study it. Almost everything in there has these little info pop-ups that you can study and learn from. So that's what's going on with the presidency. Now let's take a look at state transfer, because there are lots of little info pop-ups here. So if you hit the one on the upper right, so the one up here, let me just illustrate them. You hit this one here, and this gives you all of the phases and how it's going to work. And they some of these, it's like dynamic text where they swap it out. Maybe not this one because it's just the rules, but I think we are considered an ordinary state, not a leading state. So that'll change the way things work. But the details are telling you what would happen if you transfer during an event. The requirements are telling you, how it works basically. Leading states can only accept 30 chiefs, while ordinary states can accept up to 55. And then, here's the requirements for what happens to be eligible for transfer, and then how much it costs, which I'll get into for me in a minute. And then the phases. So right now we're in the phase of the pre-transfer phase. So right now we're establishing the power cap, essentially. That's all we're doing. Phase 2 is the invitational transfer. This is when you can, where the transfer managers can invite chiefs of other states, and they have to meet the power cap. And then we have general transfers that open, where like anybody can get in as long as they meet the power cap. So this is kind of like a random free-for-all. And you can't exceed the power cap. And then special invites are like, I don't know what those are going to look like because we're not on that screen yet. So, but it sounds like we might only get even just one special invite. So that'll probably be a limited thing. Now, if we look at, let's see, if we come down to this info bubble down here, this is telling us, I'm the transfer manager implicitly because I'm president. And we can set the power cap, and it can't be adjusted by phase 2. And if it's not configured, it'll just use the default, and it's calculated by, various aspects of power. Chiefs over a power can only transfer with a special invite, and that's something we need to be very careful about because you don't want to get the wrong person in that's over the power cap. If you look at the transfer power, like I only can set it to certain things. So they give me a very limited list. Now I asked a bunch of players in the game, and they said that basically they recommended you might as well set it to the max, because 130 million is right around where the 16th player in our state is. So like the top 16 are all over 130. Now right below 130, we have a bunch around like 129. So, it kind of goes down from there. But 16 is the top, or the top 16 are above 130 million. So the idea is you want to bring in some people that have some power and that are like spenders and active and really want to play competitively. And if you try to target this too low, you're just going to get in more people who aren't necessarily competitive, or they don't have their account in a good state. So this is the idea, is trying to target some higher power. It is a little nerve-wracking to see how the power dynamic in the state is going to change, and hopefully we get some good players in that want to be competitive with us and have good energy and good vibe and all that good stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm running this by our co-op discussion, basically our leadership, our state leadership, our top 5, because I want to just get everyone's buy-in. I want to keep everyone involved in the process because I don't want anybody feeling like I'm making all the decisions and cutting them out and not giving them any input. So that's how I'm trying to do that. Look at the state list. We're 3794, and we're basically 30 away from the median on the side of the older state. Like it goes from 3746 to 38. What is it? 3855. So that's where we sit. So we're kind of like, it's not in the best place to be as far as states trying to attract people with more power, because not many people are going to want to come to us from an older state, essentially. So, somebody in this range may want to jump to us because they have a little bit more power and they want to kind of, be able to use that in another state. So we'll see how that goes. But we're still having these discussions as a team on which is the best. Now let's take a look at my transfer costs. Look at this. My transfer score in the prospective states rating. I guess that's based on some average of the states that are in our range. It would cost me 50 transfer passes. That is really expensive. So I'm not prepared for that anyways, but basically I'm going to just continue to accumulate transfer passes over time in case I ever need to do it. From what I understand, it is a thing that happens in the game every now and then where people do feel the need to transfer. So I'll just kind of keep on putting some of those in the bank. But man, it's going to be a long time before I get to 50 because you only can get them so many, unless you start buying them up in like bigger quantities. I guess it's not all that bad. It would probably cost like probably $200 to get a bunch of them in one session. So if I really wanted to do it, I could press it that way. So that's all we have going on for state transfer right now, but I'll keep you informed on what's going on with this day by day because this is where we're at right now. This is all about the transfer right now. This is all our minds are on right now is doing this. And by the way, I'm not even going to go there, but this transfer chat, you can see over here, the transfer chat over here, man, oh man, it is just insanity. By the time I'm done typing a message, there will be like 100 more messages already, at least 50 more messages by the time I'm done typing a message. So it is crazy. It scrolls so fast. I don't know the utility of it. Like how could you can't have a conversation there. I don't even know the utility of it. It just scrolls so fast. Like there's almost practically no utility in it. So I don't know. They need to do something better with that. Maybe have it so people can only respond so frequently, or I don't know, man. There's got to be something better. There's got to be a better solution than that because it's just crazy. You have no chance of keeping up with the transfer chat. It's just a constant stream of endless insanity is the way I described it. People putting random ASCII art and weird comments and recruiting and a mix of all these things all in one. So my brain can't even, digest it. I just got to stay away from it, I think. All right, now I didn't do spending yet, but I do want to mention that I do have an affiliate code now where if you use that code and you buy from the official store using Frost Stars, you'll get a bonus because they have a bonus going on right now. You can see the little 5 bouncing above my head there. And that's a 5% bonus they have going on. And if you use my affiliate code link, they'll give me some Frost Stars as well, just as a recognition. So that's a way to help me out and help the channel out. Check the description of this video and you'll see the link. And then if you just use that link every time you go to purchase something, you'll be helping me out. I would appreciate it quite a bit. I only buy from the official Frost Stars shop because that's the safest way to buy in the game. All these other stores that promise you this and that, like I don't trust them because how can they do it when the official game doesn't even provide it to you? Like it's sketchy, and if you get caught doing it, then your account is compromised and it's just not worth it. So that's what we got going on with the Frost Stars, and just remember that. So I don't have an awful lot of spending to do tonight, and I don't really want to push this too far right now. So if we just scroll over here, we're gonna just pick up the daily deals. See if I can get a little lucky on this. All right, 6 is better than 4. And then I'll make my claims here. Since I don't have a lot of spending to do tonight, I will grab another re-up on the weekly card, and then I'll grab the gear weekly card as well. And I don't think I have anything more to do here. I could do more mithril if I really wanted to, but you know, because but that's at $5. I know I don't have enough anymore, but I'll wait and see. You know, it is going to reset soon, so I'll buy some more later. So now if we just take a look at the deal section, we do have Hall of Heroes going on, and I'm going to follow the same strategy I've been doing here. I am going to buy the $5 pack every day, and I'm going to buy this up to the $50 mark. And the reason for that is so that I can put more of these widgets in the bank, and that actually may be too many. Let's see. I'm gonna have to calculate how many I need, but I know I can at least use 100. And I may get to the point where I don't need that many more. So I'm gonna calculate exactly how much I need, and then I'll stop with the season 1. And I'll go to season 2. This is just as a whale, having multiple marches, having those widgets pressed is not, it's a good use of power, but it's temporary because better heroes will replace them. But if you're in a situation like Foundry or that Wild Brawl or something like that, or even to a degree like Canyon Clash, having multiple marches with, widgets, as long as it's an event where the widgets do take place, which I'm not sure they do in Canyon Clash. I'll have to go check that out. But, as long as it's an event where the widgets work, it's worth having multiple marches, essentially. So then Journey of Treasures, let's just make this claim, clear that out. Sign in and earn it. You gotta re-up this. I think that's one of the good value things in the game. And then we gotta get Deadshot. Let's see. I'll take a look at Deadshot. Let me just get my deposit going here. All right, so Deadshot. I can do two of these 5s. So let's give it a shot. Let's see if Deadshot is okay with me tonight or not. I'm gonna just go right across the top. Let's see what happens. All right. Now let's go right across the bottom. Oh, man. Oh, I guess it's not. This isn't the worst Deadshot has done to me. Let's try again. Same strategy. I'll go right across the top. And right across the bottom. Oh, come on, man. All right, not the worst luck, and not the best, but not the worst luck either. So, take it. I'll take it. That's better than I've been doing in Deadshot. And finally, let's just check out VIP. So I'll make this claim here. And apologies for the short-ish video tonight because I am sick and I'm just trying to make sure that I get something out there for y'all tonight. But let's see how many spins it takes to get a globe piece tonight. Let's see, here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. All right, got it at the magic 80 again, which as we saw last night, that is good luck. Sometimes I've got it as low as 30, and then I've got it as high as 9 so far. So 8 is still pretty good ratio. That's a little bit better than average luck there. So put that one in the tank, and now we're 32% of the way there. Gonna take some time. Look at how it's eating that VIP away. And, somebody made a comment about, like, how is this actually a bad deal? It's not that it's a bad deal. It's just like it just feels like it's a lot of these badges you're burning to be able to get these. But I do get it. Like, as I'm progressing the account, it's really hard. You get blocked by mythic gear really hard. So, I don't think it's a bad deal anymore. Like, it just hurts to have to spend 20,000 of these, because they're so hard to get. Spend 20,000 of them instead of on, something like the charms. So don't think it's necessarily a bad deal in retrospect, but I guess it's just painful to have to spend so much on them. All right, that's all I got for you tonight. But remember, the best way to help me out is you click the video description and use that affiliate link code so that I'll get a little bonus. I'll get a little Frost Stars as well. And it costs you nothing. You just use that code instead. You click that link and it'll bring you to the official site. You'll be able to buy your Frost Stars. Do it while they got the 5% sale going on, and you'll get yourself a little bonus. And then I'll get a little cut back. You can help me out. That's the best way you can help me. The other way you can help me out is you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That way you'll know about any content I post right away. Thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you later.